HBC Broadcast Center. Find out more about area businesses, agencies, and events.
It's what's going on right now.
This is Spotlight.
All right, welcome to this Wednesday morning Spotlight. It is our Thanksgiving Eve Spotlight, so to speak, but we're here to get you ready for the holidays, and there's no better person to do that with than Alan Rodriguez of Jülz by Alan Rodriguez. How are you, Alan?
Good morning, Pam, and good morning to your listening audience today.
We're so glad to have you, and I always enjoy our conversations. I'm going to start off by showing you that I am wearing my ring that my mom and I brought into you.
Wonderful.
And I wear it faithfully now, and I'm so glad that we did that. But my point about bringing it up is that for folks who, love that tradition and have those pieces of jewelry sitting somewhere that were never getting worn, Alan can just make it magical for you, which you did for my mom because you knew the whole backstory of this ring, and that was fantastic.
Well, when you think about this was a ring that, so everyone can know, goes back how far?
Oh my gosh, the 1890s or something to that
effect? You think about this, 135 years ago, and until we brought it back to life, it was sitting away somewhere waiting to get worn at, and it was put away for a long time. And we think at this point in our lives, and the things we can be thankful. We think of Thanksgiving and kind of the new buzz is what are we thankful for? And as I shared with you before, Pam, I'm entering my 50th year in the jewelry business, and I think 50 years is the velocity of time. And how fast time goes by. And as we get older, I don't want to say in my case, things become even more precious. And the symbolism of things becomes so much more meaningful. And those treasures, those family heirlooms that maybe we just kind of, not want to say took for granted when we're younger, but they become kind of talismans, things that we can't be without. And I can't tell you how many people are coming in now. And I don't know if it's the times that we're living in where people want that comfort. People want something to take them back to when life was a little bit simpler. And so having that ring, you have a little bit of comfort with it. Although I'm going to share a quick story, and I know you probably got to break away, but for me, I regretfully had to retire my gym bag that I have had since I was in 8th grade. And, now think about this, right?
Oh, Alan. Yeah.
Almost 50 years old. It was a leather gym bag, and every day I've had that gym bag, and it broke, and I replaced the zippers, and it goes. I'm a YMCA guy, and it's always with me. And finally, the last couple months, it was just falling apart to the point where I had to kind of find something new, and that was a little bit of a separation anxiety.
Yeah.
So I have a necklace that I wear. That it's a religious medal that I got when I was baptized. When I was like, whatever it was, 6 months old in the Catholic Church or something. And then the chain when I was my confirmation, 13 years old. And, Pam, that stays with me 24/7 around my neck. And here, 50 plus years later, 55 years later, if I don't have it, if I always kind of randomly feel for it, I do everything to kind of keep it safe and precious.
Yeah. And that's where you help people with that. The other part of it is not only did I get the ring taken care of and all, safe and sound and able for me to wear again, but the joy on my mom's face, this is her grandmother's ring. And she was just so thrilled when you were talking to her, about everything. And the fact that, she said, because we were kind of worried. We didn't know what was going to happen to the ring. And she's like, what the heck? Let's get it taken care of so you can wear the thing,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
In 50 years that I've been in this profession, and if we start thinking about that, how many people in life, to go 50 years with your job is a pretty long time. And in the old days, they would give the guy the gold watch for retirement and put them out to pasture. But here, I'm in a profession. I'm so thankful that for anybody that spends 5 minutes with me will know this, but I'm as passionate about what I do today as I was the day I started. And there aren't that many people that can say that in their career. And along that journey, in our New Philadelphia, at the house, we have the House of Stones in New Philadelphia and Jülz in downtown Canton. But 2 Thanksgivings ago, I was down there, and at the same time, in the store, we had 5 generations of families that we served at the House of Stones. The House of Stones has a history. I'm the 4th owner, and it goes back to the late 1800s, right on the square downtown New Philadelphia. Fabulous, fabulous store down there. But to have that moment where I'm thinking this, a great-great-grandmother was giving a necklace to her 14-year-old great whatever that is granddaughter. Mm-hmm. And for us to be a part of that, and I've known every generation. So that's my record, is 5 generations. We see a lot of 4th generations where I can tell these kids when they come in stories about their great-grandfather or great-grandmother that's been long gone before they were even born. And sometimes we'll see those pieces that come and get repurposed from generation to generation. And I'm glad to see that younger generation having that, that symbolism of nostalgia, that connection to someone in their past. Yeah. Pretty cool.
It's awesome. Talk about, your great beginnings, so to speak, because for folks maybe who are just meeting you for the first time.
Mm-hmm. Well, what it is that, for me, the key word is finding passion. And in school, you go, you're in school, you get good grades, and you think this is a journey you're supposed to take. And I've had, as we all do, go through detours in our life. But I was very, very fortunate to have a job in college where I worked for a jewelry store up in Talmadge called Colin Hubbard. And it was an old family, multi-generation business, I think based out of Cleveland. And I was holiday help. And so I went there, worked over the holidays, and had loved working there. And everybody that was coming in was happy. They were celebrating. And I thought, wow, this is really cool. And so I ended up, and naturally, after the holidays, they didn't need me anymore. And I was at Kent State University at the time, and I met a girl at the Water Street Saloon. They had the Numbers Band, which are still around, a jazz band that were playing there. And she happened to be the daughter of Bob Gosser, and gay. And so we started hanging out, became close friends. And she told her dad about me. And her dad said, he goes, wow, if he's really interested in the business, that I can learn so much more being in a family business. And so one thing led to another. And then I spent 11 years with him. And that's how I became I was always a downtowner, though. I was always part of downtown Canton. My grade school I went to was St. John the Baptist around the corner. And then after grade school, we'd be running around downtown back in its heyday when all the department stores, the 5 and 10, the hot dog, joints at the arcade market, and all those memories that we have. And it kind of shapes a little bit of who we are today when we have that. So I've been very devoted to downtown, which is why we're here today, and why when we relocated from our original site right next to the Chamber of Commerce on Market Avenue, we're down 1 block west of the Canton Palace Theater. And so can't miss it when you drive north on.
No, you cannot.
Yeah, to see that. And so here we've been fortunate because everything is kind of under one roof. So we have the main level, and then this was before we had it. Its origins go back to the Ohio Bell, the telephone, and it was 1 block south of us. And at that time, I remember when I was at Gosser's that they employed 400 operators in that building. And all I can think of whenever I hear that is that Lucille Ball skit back there where she was plugging in all those little telephone things. and that craziness. I was never in there, but I'm kind of picturing that's what it looked like on the
Yeah.
inside. Well, this was their bank. This was their credit union.
Gotcha.
And then through a series of mergers and acquisitions and everything, it became vacant. And then we ended up getting the building, and it has a whole lower level. And all of our manufacturing, our shop, our jewelers, gemologists, everything are downstairs. And so we're able to kind of have everything under one roof, which is pretty cool.
And it's a beautiful location. It's
Yeah.
it's fun to just visit, to look at it for sure. But we're going to take our first break, Alan, and when we come back, we'll talk more about, you know, what to expect throughout the holidays if you're looking for something special, and we will do that here on Spotlight on 1480 WHBC.
Hi, this is Alan Rodriguez from Jülz, a unique fine jewelry store located in downtown Canton. What makes us special? You'll see it in the beauty of our diamonds. You'll feel it in the craftsmanship of our jewelry, and you'll believe it with the professionalism of our staff. From our in-house full-time jewelers to our national award-winning designers, our genuine desire is to provide an exceptional jewelry buying experience that creates a lifetime memory. We look forward to serving you at Jülz in downtown Canton.
What's that rumbling sound? The clash of helmets on the football field? Spartan soldiers marching into battle? Or your stomach? Papa Gyros can help with appetizers, platters, salads, sweets, and of course, the very best gyros in town. Celebrate your triumphs and tackle your hunger at Papa Gyros.
Find the Papa Gyros. Oops. Find the Papayitos closest to you at papayitos.com.
Oh no, stomach issues again?
Stomach issues?
Who are you?
Your pancreas. I could be the real reason for your diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or loose oily stools.
I thought it was my stomach.
People often do, but any of these symptoms could mean having a condition called exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI. With EPI, the pancreas doesn't release enough enzymes to break down food, but EPI is manageable. Use the symptom checker on identifyepi.com and speak with your doctor. That's identifyepi.com. Sponsored by AbbVie.
Progressive knows you've got enough to worry about in life.
Hi, it's your life again. Feel like another year is just slipping away? Yeah, remember all those New Year's resolutions you made? You still haven't finished the first book. Just 19 more to go. I mean, if we're being honest, it wasn't a very realistic goal. Have you ever considered that you intentionally self-sabotage? So what's that about?
So let Progressive protect your home and auto, because you've got enough to worry about. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates and other insurers not available in all states.
As a mom, comforting my family is what I do best. Vicks Vapor Stick provides soothing, non-medicated Vicks vapors in an easy-to-apply stick, and it dries fast, so there's no mess. I use it to comfort myself and my family.
Thanks, Mom.
Vicks Vapo Stick, soothing comfort for the whole family. And try Vicks Vapo Shower Max for steamy Vicks Vapors when you need more comfort for yourself. Use as directed.
Now back to Spotlight on 1480 WHBC.
And welcome back to Spotlight here on 1480 WHBC. Pam Cook with you, Alan Rodriguez, Jülz by Alan Rodriguez, and the House of Stones in New Philadelphia. And we've been just talking about wonderful stories. And I'm going to share another one because I just got a really nice email from a woman by the name of Joan, who says, when my husband passed away 6 years ago, I took his wedding ring to Alan and had it cut into 3 small pieces of gold to make a pendant with the 3 diamonds that were in his ring. 1 diamond in each pendant for his 2 daughters and 1 for myself. It was during COVID, but Alan opened his store. He worked with me and talked with me and helped me. And when my husband passed away on March 2nd, I was able to have those pendants for Mother's Day for his daughters and myself. I am so grateful and would highly recommend Alan for any work of business. She says, thank you for making a memorable pendant.
And you know, Pam, I think in our life we're motivated by those validations, and that's our commitment to everybody. Because I preach it here daily to everyone that works at both our stores, and that everything we say, everything we think, and everything we do to always be a customer. And we want to say, how do we want to be made to feel? And when someone comes in and so often people come in and they apologize. They say, oh, this is really nothing, or this is probably, but can you help me with this? This is meaningful for this. And so everybody that comes in, no matter what they have, it's a priceless treasure. And it's our responsibility to kind of give them that fulfillment. So when you see that and you see all our Google reviews, we've got 500 and some 5-star Google reviews with story after story after story, and it keeps everybody committed to the mission we have here.
It's like a book. You could put all those together and make a book, because the stories are so cool.
Oh, and so and as I said, over 50 years, I can't begin to tell you, but I think of everybody, when I was younger, I'm gonna be honest with you, I when it came to funerals, I never wanted to go to funerals. I never wanted to go to calling hours. And then finally I started going. And then what I started to realize was that all the people that I might have known, the gifts that they left me and their life. And so I try to get little bits and pieces of that and things that kind of make me, committed as I am today. And one of them that just comes to mind that I'm going to share with you and the audience was about a man at the House of Stones, oh my goodness, early 1990s. And he was blind. And he had gotten blind when he was like 10, 11, 12 years old with the street kids that did a pipe bomb or something and exploded and gone bad. So for the rest of his life, he was totally blind. And so he comes in the store. And he was looking at a bracelet for his wife, a diamond bracelet for their anniversary. And so I'm talking to him about these 3 bracelets. And he says to me, he goes, well, can I see them? And I'm going, whoa. So he holds out his hand, and I put the bracelets in his hand, and he's feeling and talking. He's talking to me about this bracelet and pointing out things that I didn't even notice. And he says, I really like the way this feels with this link. And the lesson that I learned from him to this day, and this is, almost 40 years later, I have never looked at another piece of jewelry the same way again. So whenever I'm with someone, I'm showing them the links, the finish, the details on there, and the pieces that contribute to the longevity of those pieces. Because when you can have something that we've done 40 years ago being worn 24/7 and they're coming in today, that's the best testimonial I could have from anybody and anything.
Absolutely. So when folks walk into your store, there's so much to see, but what are people looking for these days? I mean, what are the trends like?
Well, when I say it continually changes, when you think when you're younger and you're wanting to start a jewelry wardrobe, it can be, if you're real young, it might be a ring for a girlfriend if you're in your early ages. But then the engagement ring, and then the wedding ring, and then you start thinking of anniversaries, and then you start thinking if children come along, gifts to symbolize the birth of that child. And so if we think of life's journey, and do you remember, did you ever have a charm bracelet when you were a kid?
I did.
Do you still have it?
I do.
And let's go ahead and say you remember your first charm bracelet. You were first grade, second grade, third grade, maybe?
Yeah.
And then you went on vacation and you got a little charm on vacation. and then you got your Sweet 16, and then you got whatever you got. But I don't know if you've gone in your jewelry box, if you still have that bracelet, but if you go through there and you go charm by charm by charm, it kind of takes you back.
Yeah.
Did you see that? I don't know, this commercial now on TV that Amazon has. It's one of my favorite. It's a tearjerker, and these 3 little old ladies that are at this sled run, and they're up there watching everyone sledding, and the one mischievous one goes by, and then she starts going down the hill, and they're laughing, and all of a sudden the years melt away,
right.
and you see them back as kids. and it brings tears to my eye. And that's kind of, when we feel that way, there's something very magical and the symbolism of jewelry. So getting back to what you were talking about, whatever it happens to be. So when someone comes in, we always take that long-term perspective. There's a thing now, a lot of times when a little girl is born, someone in her family will start what we call an add a pearl necklace. And what that means is that maybe when they're born or a baptism or a christening or whatever it happens to be, you'll get them a starter necklace. And it might have 1, 2, or 3. And then the idea is that every year, it might be a father or a grandparent or an aunt or uncle that give it to them. And every year they add to it. So the old thinking was that when you're 18 years old, if you add an inch a year, you have that full strand necklace. Remember did you ever have one of those for your graduation picture from high school with what was that sweater? You would wear the sweater and the pearls
like the Angora sweater, yeah.
And they would have that pearl necklace. Well, that was kind of the thinking, but you'd have your whole pearl necklace. But really what's important to that, and I've been preaching this to all these guys and the give to them, is that it's not so much the pearl. I said every year, if it's a birthday for that little girl and you get her, and what you do is you get her to put on her necklace, you go on a date with her, you take her to lunch somewhere and she's wearing her necklace, and then when you're done, you bring her to Jülz or the House of Stones. She hands the necklace to us. We add another one, or we add another inch to it. And so if you think about 18 years of those precious moments become priceless, and that little girl grows up and that becomes the most valuable possession she owns, that necklace, not so much for the pearls that are there, but all the memories that it's created. And so when you think of the symbolism of jewelry and how meaningful it is and where it takes us in our lives, so when we say trends, they are so individual, and that's what we really do well. Our team is really dialed in to kind of ask those questions and bring pieces that are meaningful to that person, not just for today, but has the ability to transcend generations.
And it's the experience part of it that we love so much, getting all of that and then using it. All right, we're going to take our break for the news, and then when we come back, we'll talk more with Alan Rodriguez. Jülz by Alan Rodriguez on Spotlight on 1480 WHBC.
Hi, this is Alan Rodriguez from Jülz, a unique fine jewelry store located in downtown Canton. What makes us special? You'll see it in the beauty of our diamonds. You'll feel it in the craftsmanship of our jewelry, and you'll believe it with the professionalism of our staff. From our in-house full-time jewelers to our national award-winning designers, our genuine desires to provide an exceptional jewelry buying experience that creates a lifetime memory. We look forward to serving you at Jülz in downtown Canton.
Hi, this is Jim Snyder of the Your Wealth, Your Retirement program, a financial education show for those seeking guidance. Are you retiring soon? Are you in the middle of changing jobs? Maybe you're just done with all of that risk in the 401k plan and you'd like to have a discussion about an early rollout. Maybe you're 70 and a half and you're in your income phase of your IRA. We can help you with all those. Give us a call at Senior Financial Group at 800-639-0824. That's 800-639-0824.
Call Crown Heating and Cooling today. With Crown, estimates are always free. Let them show you how much you can save when you trust the carrier experts at Crown. Call 330-499-4988 or visit them on the web at crowngroupohio.com. Ohio license number 27133.
Ohio Christmas Factory on Mahoning Road in Canton is now open. A family-friendly holiday experience for all ages. Enjoy pictures with me, Santa Claus, hot cocoa, a Christmas light show, and grab a cocktail at the North Pole Tavern Bar. For tickets, check out ohiochristmasfactory.com.
HIV-free is the way to be. December 1st is World AIDS Day. Join Canton City Public Health and the Stark Library for free HIV testing at the new temporary location of the main library. No appointments needed. Just walk in and take charge of your status. Testing is fast, confidential, and free. Let's break the stigma and build a healthier community together. That's Monday, December 1st from 2 to 7 p.m. at the Stark Main Library at 1020 Market Avenue North. Take care and see you there.
Owe the IRS $10,000 or more in business or personal back taxes? Call the Tax Doctor now. Learn how to pay the IRS less. 800-430-3062. 800-430-3062.
Ferndale Water Experts has all your water softener salt needs. And right now, for a limited time, our Morton brand water softener salt is $1 off per bag.
Ferndale's Water Center.
WHBC AM 10, reliable as ever on News Talk 1480 WHBC.
From the News Talk 1480 WHBC newsroom, nearly a year after an Akron police officer fatally shot 15-year-old Jasmine Tucker, his family is suing the city and members of the police department. 2 officers heard gunshots, got out of their patrol car, saw Tucker, and Officer Davon Fields shot him 3 times. Attorneys for the family raised several issues, including a delay in Officer Fields activating his body-worn camera, officers waiting around 8 minutes to render aid to Tucker, and the discovery of a gun on Jasmine in a zipped-up pocket. The 37-page wrongful death lawsuit alleges the Akron Police Department has a systemic culture of over-aggression. President Donald Trump's plan to avert a massive hike for Obamacare health plans was abruptly postponed to a widespread Republican unease on the Hill, just minutes before the president was set to unveil the plan to avert a massive hike for Obamacare. The event was suddenly canceled. Federal subsidies passed under the Biden-era Inflation Reduction Act are set to expire at the end of the calendar year. And in sports, the college football playoffs are again, the latest rankings out. Ohio State number 1, Indiana 2, followed by Texas A&M, Georgia, and Texas Tech. In basketball, Ohio State beat Mount St. Mary's last night, 113-60. I'm Pam Cook on 1480 WHBC.
Your severe weather station, News Talk 1480 WHBC.
Here's your AccuWeather forecast. Today will bring cloudy skies with a few showers and gusty winds exceeding 40 miles per hour. This may lead to delays for holiday travelers. Expect a high of 52, dropping to the mid-30s later. Tonight remains cloudy and windy with a low of 27. Tomorrow anticipate continued cloud cover, strong winds and colder temperatures with a chance of snow showers and a high of 33. Friday will be mostly cloudy, brisk and chilly with a possibility of flurries and a high of 32. With the AccuWeather forecast, I'm meteorologist Joe Lundberg for News Talk 1480 WHBC.
Now back to Spotlight on 1480 WHBC.
And welcome back to Spotlight here on 1480 WHBC, talking with Alan Rodriguez this morning. Jülz by Alan Rodriguez and House of Stones in New Philadelphia. We're live on Facebook right now and also on our YouTube channel, so you can always check it out there. So, Alan, you've been doing this for so long. We talk about all the wonderful stories, but there are people, who come in and they want certain things, right? They are very particular. You're very particular about making an investment into your jewelry, right?
Well, that's an interesting point that you bring up, Pam, about that. And early on in my career, there was, a generation that came in and they would talk about when they first got their wedding rings. It was a solid gold wedding ring and gold was $35 an ounce. This was at the time when the price of gold was fixed, when it was backed by the US dollar. And so they paid $35 for their wedding ring. And so during the Nixon administration, I think they got off the gold standard and it became faith money and the price of gold started going up. So when I started my career, the price of gold was about $190 an ounce. And you would look at jewelry and we think about the 1970s, 1980s, and you saw big, bold, heavy pieces of jewelry. And it was, even though it was, when I say costly back then, it was still reasonably affordable. And now you can see a sign that I'm getting older because I'm one of those guys that still talk about 10 cents a cup of coffee. And what's happened to our lives, when you start saying $6 for a crafted coffee now.
Yeah.
When we think of the days at the diner, when it was 10 cents a cup. At the arcade market, that hot dog stand that was right there. And this is the 1970s. So we think of everything in our life about how expensive everything is getting. But when you start thinking now, people are coming in today, and as gold prices have gone up, and now it's about $4,000 an ounce. So when you think of something that's 20 times what it was back in those years, you see where I'm thinking now that we talk about that, the price of coffee's gone up probably 40, 50 times.
Yeah.
So jewelry's probably not that bad if I stop and think about that. But we have people that I'm here, now because of the cost of gold, you're starting to see things, when I say more delicate. And when I say more delicate, you can be afraid. You can come in and you can say, I'm afraid to wear this because it's so thin, the chain, or so thin on the bracelet. But if it's made properly, and there are certain, and that's where we're able to kind of filter through all those things when we advise people when they come in, because our goal, as you'll hear in our mission statement, is to create such a great buying experience that it becomes a lifelong memory. And I've been around so long, and the validation that we get is that when people come in with pieces that we made in the 1980s, 1990s, 2030, 40 years ago, that they're still wearing 24/7 with minimal maintenance. And then all of a sudden you say, what is really more expensive? Do we pay a little more upfront and have that? Or do we have something which we see now? Because in our shop, as I mentioned earlier, Tim Stern, and he's been our jeweler now 38 years. And prior, Rod, who was our jeweler for 52 years when he retired, and then Paul, 45 years. And now Tim, we have Alexandra apprenticing with Tim, because our shop is so busy that we average every week between both our stores about 200 jobs that come through our store. And so you can imagine how busy it is, because there aren't that many jewelers around that can do the kind of work. And we have all the technology, all the equipment, laser, we've invested in some pretty sophisticated machinery to help us really do things that you couldn't do 10 or 15 years ago. And so with that, of the 200 pieces that we average, about 95% of it was never purchased from us. And so what it teaches us is we say, why are diamonds falling out? Why is this breaking? Why isn't this being done properly? So when we start making things in the store, we do everything we can to minimize those risks, because our goal is to make that piece last as long as it possibly can. And then when it does require maintenance, like prong work, when it's brand new on a ring that holds your diamond, you can think of it like a new set of tires. You got plenty of tread. But then over the years, those tires are going to wear down. Well, with diamonds, it's the same thing. Those prongs that hold your stones will start wearing themselves paper thin. So you could be taking a towel out of the dryer and then hooking it on the edge of that prong, not enough metal to secure it, and then you risk a chance of that diamond falling out. Well, when you bring your rings into us, we always clean and check that. It's always a complimentary courtesy for us, and we help anticipate. We want to make sure things are safe and secure. And then if there is maintenance that's required, we're able to catch it before you end up losing a stone. And so those are the things that we pay attention to when we make our pieces. Now, we also work, when we think of the price of gold the way it is now, you start seeing combinations. We have silver. We have some great silver pieces with gold mixed in them that we're able to kind of have the combination of both to hit a wide range of price points. If a guy comes in and thinking back to that 10-cent cup of coffee, I had a guy that came into the store and he said he'd been saving for 5 years, and it was going to be his anniversary, and he wanted to get a nice set of rings for both he and his wife. And he'd been saving for 5 years, and he was willing to spend $500 to do this. And I looked at him thinking, is this a joke? But then realized he was very, very serious.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought, okay, he took the time to come in here because he wanted to come, because he wanted to be special. He wanted to come to Jülz. And I sat down with him. And what we ended up doing was, once he realized we educated him, we showed him the differences. I admire him because he didn't compromise on his quest for quality, but we found him 2 very, very nice silver rings that were beautifully made, beautifully finished. He's going to come back in 5 years. We're going to set a diamond and one of them. And he was so excited when he got done with us. So when you walk out, when a guy proposes to a girl, I want to make sure that no matter what his budget is, that he can stand 6 foot tall and feel like he gave her the Hope Diamond.
Yeah.
And those are the things that keep us around 50 years later. And those are the things that people will tell their friends and neighbors. And this Amazon world that we live in, they have a great business model, but we can learn so much about customer service. That's the one asset we have. And people I know that come in here, everyone prefers to do business with the local merchants in their own community. But we also have a responsibility to deliver on that promise. We can't just sit back and expect them to come in. We have to have a value proposition that makes sense over the long term. And when you see multiple generations comes in, that makes us believe 100% in what we do is working.
Yeah. And you mentioned before about the experience, and I did as well. That's, I think, 90% of it. I mean, obviously you want to have a beautiful thing, beautiful product, but the experience to remember it. I have said to you in all the years that we've talked, I still remember the family jeweler, Mr. Dunsky. That was his name in Pittsburgh. My mom went to him, every single piece of jewelry. My grandmother went to him. And those, he made the experience in our local neighborhood. And that was a big deal,
And Pam, it's something that we have the responsibility to prepare the next generation with those same values, because this technology-driven world that we live in, everything becomes disposable and everything, and we have to be very careful, because if we lose that bit of our legacy, that's what connects us to our past and our heritage, I think we lose something in our character, we lose something in our soul. And it's diluted. I think we can hold on to things. And if we think, okay, what is the fountain of youth? The fountain of youth is are being able to have things that can take you back in time to happy times in our lives, whether whether it's china or silver, or and speaking of china or silver, Thanksgiving, everyone, when I was a kid, I used to complain, and my mother made me take out the silver and polish it, clean all the china, do all this work for one day, Thanksgiving, and one day at Christmas, and then now we want to give this to our kids. They don't want it. But so what I tell everyone, I said, you know what? Take your china, take your crystal, use it every day, use it for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and you can look at this, and maybe when you're having dinner, you're looking at that plate, and it might remind you of a story of your mother making Thanksgiving dinner, and then you kind of feel a little different. You feel a little bit better, and the secret of life, when you think about that, is connecting those moments. And
we're not just talking about engagement rings for you guys. I mean, you have all kinds of different pieces of jewelry.
And the whole thing is that you have different pieces that symbolize different things. And in the old days, women who didn't always go in the workplace. They were homemakers. They raised the family. And then when jewelry was given to them, it was always given to them by the man. It might be a father or might be the husband. And they never, ever. But now when you see career-driven women and women that are choose to be single in their lives, that they want to, this whole self-purchase, and that they want to reward themselves for whatever it happens to be. So if they have a promotion in their business, or they have something, they say, I'm going to go in. And so every time, she looks in the mirror when she's getting ready to go to work in the morning, and she has that pair of diamond earrings and her ears that she purchased herself, and she can stand tall, be proud, be confident. And that's a symbol of her hard work and efforts that she's rewarded herself with.
All right, we're going to take our final break, and we'll be back. We'll talk more with Alan Rodriguez on Spotlight here on 1480 WHBC.
Hi, this is Alan Rodriguez from Jülz, a unique fine jewelry store located in downtown Canton. What makes us special? You'll see it in the beauty of our diamonds. You'll feel it in the craftsmanship of our jewelry, and you'll believe it with the professionalism of our staff. From our in-house full-time jewelers to our national award-winning designers, our genuine desire is to provide an exceptional jewelry buying experience that creates a lifetime memory. We look forward to serving you at Jülz in downtown Canton.
Hello, Sugar Plums. Mrs. Claus here. I've just slipped away from the North Pole to shop local at Sir Troy's Toy Kingdom. It's our favorite place to find the Lego sets builders dream of, Barbies that make the eyes twinkle, the fastest Hot Wheels, enchanting puzzles and games, and the softest plush you'll ever cuddle, plus tons of stocking stuffers for the young or the young at heart. So grab your mittens and dash over to Sir Troy's Toy Kingdom across from Belden Village Mall, or shop sirtroys.com for everything on their list and more.
As a mom, comforting my family is what I do best. Vicks Vapor Stick provides soothing, non-medicated Vicks vapors in an easy-to-apply stick, and it dries fast, so there's no mess. I use it to comfort myself and my family.
Thanks, Mom.
Vicks Vapo Stick, soothing comfort for the whole family. And try Vicks Vapo Shower Max for steamy Vicks vapors when you need more comfort for yourself. Use as directed.
If you've been diagnosed with moderate to severe plaque psoriasis, this is what it sounds like to be 1,000,000 miles away. Imagine being 1,000,000 miles away. Tremfya guselkumab, taken by injection, is a prescription medicine for adults with moderate to severe plaque psoriasis who may benefit from taking injections or pills or phototherapy. With Tremfya, clearer skin is possible. In clinical trials, at least 70% of patients saw at least 90% clearer skin at 16 weeks. Results may vary. Tremfya is also indicated for adults with active psoriatic arthritis. Serious allergic reactions and increased risk of infections and liver problems may occur. Before treatment, your doctor should check you for infections and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor if you have an infection, flu-like symptoms, or if you need a vaccine. Ask your doctor about Tremfya. Call 1-800-526-7736 or visit tremfya.com.
Step into Danny Boys, where the music's cool, the food's hot, and every bite hits the high note. Join us weekdays for daily specials till 3 p.m. and keep the good times rolling with happy hour and bar app specials till 6 p.m. From our famous pizza, pasta, and breadsticks to the Rat Pack tunes floating through the air, it's the perfect blend of flavor and nostalgia. Come to Danny Boys at 6081 Dressler Road Northwest in Canton, where Frank Sinatra would have loved to grab a slice.
Hungry for real Italian comfort food? Danny Boy's restaurant has you covered. From mouth-watering pasta to all your favorite Italian classics. And don't miss their incredible lunch specials. Perfect for a quick, delicious midday escape. Right now, snag a $50 Danny Boy's gift certificate for just $25 exclusively at 330deals.com. That's right, half price. Get in on the half price hookup before they're gone. Visit 330deals.com today.
An official message from Medicare.
Couple more minutes, and we'll start this month's book club.
You know, I usually love a plot twist, but this year, I'm comparing my options during Medicare open enrollment.
You can't assume your current health or drug plan is the best one for you.
And you gotta make sure your drugs are covered. That's important.
So is saving money.
Review all your options at Medicare.gov. Open enrollment ends December 7th. Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
Now back to Spotlight on 1480 WHBC.
All right, we are back to Spotlight here on 1480 WHBC. Pam Cook with you, Alan Rodriguez, and Jülz by Alan Rodriguez, House of Stones in New Philadelphia, which, by the way, is like one of those places I love to drive by and look at Christmas time and other times too. But, right there on the square in New Philly, it always looks so pretty.
Well, yeah, absolutely, Pam. And I think, when we think about nostalgia, and I always affectionately refer to New Philadelphia as a bit like Mayberry. And when our downtown, the pride that everyone has down there, they just put up a big tree right on our square, but our windows, the lighting, and you just kind of step back in time. So it's well worth the drive. It's a lovely store. Our managing director down there, Ian Wombold, who's been with me 17 years, and he actually thinks it's his store, and he treats it like it's his store. The pride that he has and making everybody feel so special when they come in, the whole team down there. So it's well worth the drive to go down. But getting back to what you were talking about earlier about trends and changes and technology, you've heard me talk about nostalgia pretty much this whole segment. And when we think of technology, there can be, when it comes to jewelry, there can be good things in it, and that makes our life better and makes it better for the customer. And when we talk about custom jewelry, and that's one thing that we've been known for, we're national award-winning designs that you'll see some of the trophies and things that are in the store that recognize that. But in the old days, I say old days, Rod, who was our jeweler I mentioned that was with us for 52 years, when he would do his carvings, customer would come in, I would sketch something on a piece of paper, and then I would give it to our jeweler, Rod, and he would take and carve out of soapstone a model. And that was the basis of what the ring would be cast. So he would spend hours and hours and hours making a casting. So then all of a sudden I would show it to you, and you would say, "Oh, Alan," I go, "I like it, but it's just too big or too fat." Then the trash can, boom, throws in a trash can and starts all over again. So custom jewelry in the old days was a very labor intensive, and it was an expensive process. Now with modern technology, we have what we call CAD design, computer aided design. So what I'll do is I'll do my sketch the way I always did. And some people say, I need to kind of have a better feel for it. Well, then what we do is that we have a computer aided designer, a CAD designer, that will take that sketch, digitize it on a computer format, and make all the data points that are right there. And then we hit the 3D printer, and out comes a plastic model of the ring. So then you put it on and say, "Oh, Alan, that's a little too tall, or that's a little too fat, or feels a little too big." He goes back in, changes a couple numbers in the computer, hits print again, and then boom, you go, now that's perfect. And so what's good about CAD design, and that model, that plastic model, becomes the basis of the casting, that we're able to produce custom-made jewelry for family heirlooms. If you have, diamonds and things that you've inherited that are different sizes, it's like a custom tailor-made suit. And in the end, when it's all done, it's pretty darn near the same price as what it would be had you just gone in and bought it off the shelf. Yeah. So that's a one niche that really differentiates in this tech-driven world, that we're still able to really personalize that experience, still be pretty darn competitive when it comes to that, but also have the ability to take jewelry that you have. But then going back to, and I talk about the price of gold, and the price of gold being about $4,000. Well, let's say you inherited this big gold collar necklace that never in a million years would you wear. Well, you bring that in, and then what we do is that we give you a gold credit that you could use to offset the price of anything you would be purchasing. And we just did one last week where the gal got $3,500 credit on a bracelet that was her grandmother's, a solid gold bracelet that was just too big for her. She was never going to wear it. And then she came in, and then we gave her a credit, and she bought a pair of diamond earrings for herself.
See there?
And so that bracelet, now when she puts those diamond earrings on, she thinks of her grandmother. Pretty cool.
It is awesome, and that's what I love about it, because it's not just things with the specially made items that you do, but the items that you have on hand. It's all a personal experience. It's all, you go to some box store or something, and it's just not personal. It's not personal anymore. Give me a little bit of an idea of the hours and everything for the holidays, so folks want to come in and see you.
Well, that's, what we want to do is that, number one, our regular store advertised hours. And at least for the next week or two, we're typically always closed Sundays and Mondays. And then, so Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, we're open from 10 until 5:30 at Jülz and until 5 o'clock at the House of Stones. Saturdays, we're open till 3. Then we're closed Sunday and Monday. Now, roughly about the week or so before Christmas, we'll be open Monday through Saturday for the last 2 weeks. And then we're going to be there as long as we need to be there. So if the lights are on, someone comes in, or someone wants to make an appointment either before our store hours or after our store hours, to call the store, and then we'll make sure we'll accommodate whatever individual needs they have.
And Jülz is in downtown Canton.
Downtown Canton on Cleveland Avenue. It's one way on Cleveland Avenue. So when you head north, you can't miss it. We're on the left side. We have our own parking lot.
Yes.
So you don't have to worry about anything about trying to find a place to park.
Easy in and out.
And real easy in and out. And then you'll get that little trip if you want to take you back in time and you want to visit Mayberry, hit the House of Stones in New Philadelphia, and you're going to feel so good when you go down there as well.
Well, you have a wonderful Thanksgiving, sir. I could talk to you for hours, and we'll do this again soon. I know.
Always enjoy being with you, and happy Thanksgiving to you and to all your listening audience. And we hope to see some of you soon.
Thanks, Alan.